You wrote that one of the skills you think that you developed or you recognize you had was being able to manage a lot of people, especially in the kitchen setting. And you mentioned that you find it easier for some reason to manage a group of people than maybe managing yourself. So describe that skill to me. Like, how do you think you developed that, and when did you recognize you had that?
I'm blessed that I have an amazing team here. I have an amazing sous chef, two managers, Jimmy and Pam, and my sous chef Matt, and all the other cooks and line folks here. I don't know why I can't manage myself with my time. I'm very easily procrastinating. I'm very like, I got 5 more minutes, I got 10 more minutes. But I can, figure out and how to get a team of 30 people to do what I want to do and to create my vision. I did sales for 5 years when we were starting a family. And I was good at selling, but I wasn't really good at managing my time, to seeing the customers, to finding new, and trying to get new sales, because I had a hard time just kind of mapping out my day. What does Jeremy need to do? But to tell 15 other line cooks what to do and have a plan, that's kind of really where my mindset works. So I don't know why it's like that. It is still like that today. I will almost always be late to wherever I go, except for work. I'll always be almost on time for work, and I can have everything mapped out for a week. But if you ask me what I'm doing tomorrow, personally for myself, or cooking dinner for myself, I have no idea. I just haven't gotten it.
I wonder if that skill of managing other people comes more from maybe the social aspect of it, like being able to understand how people operate and how they come together as a group to operate. Because I know that requires a lot of maybe social intelligence, which is a different skill. And I've read that there's multiple types of intelligence, right? I think in our society today, we look at intelligence as this very narrow definition of what constitutes someone who's smart. But this other book that I haven't read yet, but I've heard about, that's on my list, is that there are 5 types of intelligence. I'm going to try to see if I can remember all of them. But, one of them is like more cognitive intelligence. One of them is more arithmetic intelligence. One of them was social intelligence. So I remember there's different types of intelligence people have, and I wonder if the skill of managing people comes into the category of social intelligence, because I think it really requires you to be able to understand like how people operate and like what they must do in order to carry out and implement this vision. So would you say you see more of that side of it? Or?
Oh, 100%. I think I have, a way of talking to people. I have no problem talking to people. I'm not a shy person, whether it's one person or 100. I mean, that hasn't always been that way. I'm good at reading people. It helps when I play poker, but to just honestly reading people's personalities, and I'm very good at understanding what somebody needs to get through the day. Some people need that recognition. Some people just need a thank you. Some people need to be pushed. Some people not saying yelled at. We don't really do that here, which is great. I grew up during the time of the industry where yelling, screaming, throwing chefs, I lived through all of that. Everything you see on TV like Gordon Ramsay, I lived through all of it, even worse. Luckily my industry is changing, and we're trying to be more thoughtful of how we treat our employees. And that's something would not fly here, nor I'm not that guy anymore. But definitely, it's just something about reading people that I can do pretty well. I'm not perfect at it, but that has helped me. I have 30-some employees that work in food service here, just about, and it's 30 different personalities. So you got to kind of, there's a great line in the movie Training Day where it says you got to balance your smiles and cries, and that's 100% true in life.
Undoubtedly, you also face difficulties in the kitchen at times, right? Where maybe things are not going how you'd want it to go. And if you don't yell, what other methods do you employ to kind of get through those difficult situations?
For me, what I've always learned, which kind of works best, is not yelling anymore. Yelling, working out of fear instead of respect is something that doesn't work. Let's say my early age, my late 20s, early 30s, that type of chef mentality, that's what it was. You led by fear versus respect. Here, I'm more of a mentoring kind of aspect to let's figure out what went wrong, what happened, throw it away, let's start over, and let's do it right this time. And let's figure out what we did wrong, or why it doesn't taste good, or why do we burn the tomato sauce for the 3rd time in a row, and those little things. But it's more about mentoring now and figuring out the whys, instead of just going at and attacking someone and be like, this is terrible.
And I wonder, how do you open someone who maybe not so open to mentorship? Like, I know there are a lot of I know you mentioned that you're pretty intelligent with personalities and reading people, and you maybe face people who are more like maybe egocentric or maybe more self-centered, and people that are maybe not be as open to change. How have you kind of navigated that while still keeping the respect side of it and still trying to maintain that level of respect amongst each other?
What I like to do, especially say if someone was to come work here, I give them like the cheat codes of how you're going to succeed at Peddie. I always say it's going to take you 3 years to learn the operation here from our side at Peddie. It's always changing. It's always evolving. The menu changes every single day here. There's so many events that go on. Everything is different. Graduation, alumni, parties, sandwiches. So it's not just the same menu like a restaurant, which a lot of the people we get come from. They're used to the same menu, maybe change it 3-4 times a year. So they're used to that every day, and it feels good for them. For us, it changes every day. So what I ask them to do is come in and be a sponge. Bring your basic skills. Know what you know, and what I like to say is learn the Peddie way. We're not going to make the same sauce that you made at your restaurant. We're not going to make the same sauce you make at home. We have our way of doing it. So once you learn our way of doing it, you can obviously then make a suggestion or, hey, let's change this or try that. I'm always open to that, to suggestions. And also I always tell people to write things down. I usually give most of my employees like a binder and a pencil. Most of them don't do it. And then later on, I'm like, where are your notes? Where do you see this? And they're like, oh, I didn't write anything down. I'm like, well, how are we learning? Because you obviously can't keep everything in your head. So it's that kind of challenging them. And then when they get frustrated, each employee almost fortunately gets to a breaking point where they're not getting it. They're not understanding it. They don't think they can do it. And then it clicks finally. Maybe the second time we run beef with broccoli, or the second time we run fried rice, or the second time we run this kind of ravioli. And they're like, oh, okay, this is the amount. And then they start to get it. And sometimes it gets very frustrating for them. And let's say if someone does have a strong ego, there's usually 2 ways they can either go. They can either not conform, but they can either adapt to what we do here, or adapt to my systems, or how I expect things to be, or they can move on. And that's usually the last. Unfortunately, we don't want them to, because with any employee or any person, you put time and effort into it, and it's a financial cost as well. But sometimes it gets to a point where if their ego is too much for a situation, then maybe this isn't the right environment for them.
Yeah, interesting. I don't think people see that side of the kitchen because there's so much complexity to it. There's so much that goes into it. Like, I don't think people would see a job as a chef as, oh, you have to sit down and learn and spend this much time trying to delve into this craft of cooking, which it's amazing to learn that, because I know that it really opens your eyes to there is so much more layers to anything around you. It could be cooking, it could be anything else, but it's amazing how many layers things get to in life and how deep you can really delve into something to master that craft. But it's amazing to hear those. If you enjoyed that clip with Chef Stahl, then you're going to love the full-length episode. It's going to be released this Sunday at noon, so make sure you click here to see the full-length episode. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more.